What is going on? We are here talking about the Singapore race review. Today's race was pretty dominated by Checo Perez. He led every single lap, everything he could possibly single-handedly lead, while his teammate Max Verstappen took up the TV time by struggling, by having a terrible start at the start of the race, by battling his way back, by getting over aggressive, missing the turn, getting a flat spot, having to pit a second time, and still battling back to finish 7th. Or it was also dominated by Lewis Hamilton, the two best drivers in the sport, also struggling, as Lewis Hamilton would just kind of battle around 4th the entire time, and as it occurred that nobody had any ability to pass without DRS outside of Verstappen, who was making it look easy for the most part till he caught better cars as he caught up with Lando Norris. But while this was all going on, quite a few cars ended up being effing throughout the race, including Nicholas Latifi absolutely destroying Wanzhou's car in a terrible move. Good thing he's getting out of the sport. Latifi's bad for the sport. He causes too many problems. He's just not good. Both cars were totaled and out of the race. The other Williams car would also go out. Both Alpine cars would go out. And then Yuki Tsunoda, his AlphaTauri, would also end up not finishing the race. While this being said, it was an hour delayed race. It was a lot of rain, a lot of issues going on in the race. Checo had no problem. The man ran away with it, even though he had a safety car violation near the end of the race. So they, for some reason, decided to wait till the end of the race to review, which made little to no sense. And they gave him a 5-second penalty. But he ended up running away at the end of the race to make that 5-second penalty mean absolutely nothing. As Checo dominated, Verstappen had his eyes set on trying to win a championship. He had to win the race, and that obviously didn't happen. He finished 7th. He's going to win the championship here sooner than later, as it does not matter who ended up winning this race. Because guess what? Verstappen is miles and miles ahead of everybody else. And even when he has a bad day, he still finished in the points. Crazy. I mean, this was just a bad race. You know, he started 8th. He lost 4 starts off the bat. He battled back. Then he made another mistake. And it just wasn't a good race on Max Verstappen's part. And I think he was trying to do too much. You know, his aggressive nature in the rain and no DRS, making it nearly impossible for him to pass, caused a ton of problems. And he just could not recover from said problems. And at the end of the day, I think he could have finished in the podium if he didn't get over aggressive and miss that turn. As for Lewis Hamilton, he was kind of just getting fed up being behind Carlos Sainz, and he got over aggressive, slid into the wall, broke his front fender, had to pit, or wing, had to pit, get that fixed. He goes back out on the track. He's racing well, and then he misses another turn where he gets passed by, Verstappen and whatnot, and ended up finishing 9th, still getting points, which is obviously how crazy this race ended up being. Mick Schumacher had some issues blowing a tire near the end of the race, finishing a lap down, but nobody had more problems and actually finished the race than George Russell. The man had nothing to go today. He started in the rear. He had to come out of the pits at the start. He just was not good enough. And not having DRS doesn't help matters. He ended up finishing last at the cars who finished the race, which was 13th. Not the worst thing ever. Or 14th. I think it was 14th. But he just had nothing. He was actually the first car to get off the intermediate and get onto slick tires, medium slicks. And it just didn't work. He had to pit, and I don't know why Mercedes didn't just retire him, because I feel like it was pointless for him to continue racing. Although what he did do is he did go out there at the end and steal the fastest lap from Checo or Charles Leclerc, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter as he was a non-factor. I mean, he doesn't get the point because he finished outside the points. So it was crazy, you know. I mean, the Haas cars did basically nothing the whole time for the McLaren cars had solid race days. You know, they finished 4th and 5th, but both of the Ferraris finished on the podium. Good news for Carlos Sainz, who's a guy who I think just not on his level of his teammate. And as you know, some people might say Checo isn't on the same level as Max. Nobody would be on the same level as Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is at another level. Nothing's going to stop him in his quest of winning a world championship. I honestly think that Max Verstappen has a chance of being the greatest F1 driver to ever race in the sport. I think he's better than Lewis Hamilton. He's still young. He's about to get a second championship in 2 years. Can he get to 8? I think he can, to be completely honest. I think he has what it takes to get number 8. Will it happen? I don't know. But I don't think anybody in this sport right now who's racing for the top teams, so Ferrari, Red Bull, or Mercedes, my gosh, I'm struggling to remember these names, have anything once Hamilton's gone to really compete with him. Ferrari's inconsistent. Checo Perez is just a number 2. And Mercedes, George Russell has not proven to me that he is a true championship contender. And I don't know if he's better than Boz. Anyway, I don't know what will happen, but I think Max will go into history books as the greatest F1 driver ever. He will claim the championship probably in a week or two. It's definitely not going to be like last year where it comes down to the last race and even the last couple of laps when the FBI or FIA, my gosh, makes some crazy call. And I just don't think that's going to happen this year unless Verstappen gets like injured or sick or something and can't race for the rest of the year. And even then, it's going to take a miracle for somebody to pass him. I mean, he's got like 100-point lead with 4 or 5 races left, something like that. I don't see it happening unless he just completely falls off the cliff. But thank you for watching my Singapore race review. I will see you whenever they race next. I don't know. Have a good one.